Let me tell you something that most people will never understand. And it's why so many people live lives far below their potential. True power doesn't come from speaking, from showing off, from convincing others that you are capable. True power comes from focusing on yourself and protecting your energy. It comes from learning to control your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions in such a way that the world around you cannot shake you. Most people are reactive. They give their energy away to every opinion, every criticism, every distraction, and every emotional trigger that comes their way. They spend their time trying to impress, trying to explain, trying to defend, trying to justify. And what happens? They're drained, they're scattered, they're powerless. You cannot create a life of greatness if your energy is constantly being siphoned off by the noise of the world. Power is built in silence, in focus, and in the deliberate choice to invest your energy where it truly matters. When you learn to focus on yourself, when you learn to withdraw from unnecessary noise, your energy becomes concentrated. It becomes unstoppable. Your clarity sharpens. Your decisions become decisive. Your momentum becomes unstoppable because you are no longer being pulled in multiple directions. You are no longer trying to satisfy everyone else's expectations. You are no longer reactive to the chaos around you. You are proactive, deliberate, and aligned with your purpose. That is the foundation of power, and it is one of the greatest lessons few people ever learn. Now, let's talk about silence. So many people associate silence with weakness, with passivity, with hiding, but in reality, silence is strategy. Silence is focus. Silence is strength. When you stay silent, you're not shrinking yourself, you're building yourself. You're protecting the most important asset you have, your energy. Every word you speak, every emotion you react with, every time you try to explain yourself unnecessarily, you leak power. You give a piece of your attention, your energy, and your intention to forces that are not aligned with your growth. Most people live in a state of constant leakage. They're giving energy to people who don't deserve it, to situations that don't matter, to distractions that derail their focus. But when you combine focus on yourself with silence, you create a force field around your potential. You create space for clarity to emerge. You create space for vision to form. You create space for action to align with intention. Silence is the soil in which your growth takes root. Without it, your energy is scattered. Without it, your potential is diluted. Without it, your life is reactive instead of proactive. Focusing on yourself and staying silent also creates resilience. Think about it. When you learn to rely on your internal guidance, when you learn to trust your own assessment of reality rather than the opinions of others, you become unstoppable. You are no longer subject to the fluctuations of external validation. You don't need applause to keep going. You don't need approval to stay committed. You don't need anyone to understand your journey to continue walking it. And that independence of mind is what separates those who create extraordinary lives from those who settle for mediocrity. It's not talent alone. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's the ability to control your internal state, to protect your energy, and to focus relentlessly on what matters most. Every moment you spend reacting to the opinions of others, every moment you waste explaining or defending is a moment you could have invested in building the future you want. That is why those who master focus and silence achieve results beyond the comprehension of those who never learn the lesson. Now, let's get practical. How do you do this? First, you have to recognize that most of your energy leaks come from unnecessary interaction. That doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean you avoid people. It means you become intentional about where you put your attention, your thoughts, and your emotion. Ask yourself, who deserves my energy? Which actions are aligned with my growth? Which conversations move me closer to my goals? Which distractions are stealing my focus and diluting my power? Most people answer these questions unconsciously, and that's why they're powerless. But when you start answering consciously, when you start directing your energy with precision, you begin to reclaim control over your life. You begin to reclaim your power. And that power compounds over time because energy focus is energy multiplied. Every choice you make to remain silent in situations that don't matter to avoid unnecessary reactions, to redirect attention inward, builds momentum. It builds clarity. It builds strength. It builds identity. And once your identity is solid, your results become inevitable. Silence also allows reflection. Most people live life at the speed of reaction, moving from stimulus to response without ever pausing to evaluate. But when you focus on yourself and stay silent, you create the space for deep reflection. You can assess your decisions, your patterns, your habits, and your alignment with your vision. You can identify where you've been giving away your power, and you can design strategies to reclaim it. Reflection in silence strengthens insight. It strengthens clarity. It strengthens alignment. And when alignment meets massive, focused action, extraordinary results are born. The people who achieve greatness are not necessarily smarter or luckier than everyone else. They are the ones who learn how to focus, to protect their energy, and to harness silence as a tool of strategy. That is why the quiet phases of life, where you focus on yourself and stay silent, are often the most productive and transformative phases. Finally, let me tell you about mastery. Mastery of your life doesn't come from being loud, from proving yourself to others, or from seeking approval. Mastery comes from discipline, from self-control, from energy management, from the relentless focus on what truly matters. Silence and focus are the pillars of mastery because they prevent the dilution of your power. They allow you to act with intention. They allow you to think with clarity. They allow you to create without interference. And when you combine that with relentless action toward your goals, nothing can stop you. Your energy becomes unstoppable. Your momentum becomes undeniable, and your results become inevitable. Focusing on yourself and staying silent is not just a strategy. It's the foundation of greatness, the key to resilience, and the path to a life of extraordinary power and fulfillment.